Well, I'm going to get started. I have already ground 1¼ cups of raw peanuts, and they're ground very fine, as you can see. That's really, really fine. The next one I'm going to do is I am going to grind my cup of soybeans. They've been soaked. I measured out 1 cup of dry soybeans, and I soaked it, and then I didn't have time to deal with it, so I put it in a bag and put it in a freezer. I'm going to pour about half of it in. This is a Ninja. I don't care what it is, as long as you can grind it real fine. That's the idea. Okay, we're going to make some noise here real quick. Now, I'm going to take the lid off, scrape things down, because there's stuff that didn't get ground that's up at the top. So it just kind of goes up into the shoulder in this thing, and it doesn't want to grind. So I have to scrape it off and start over again and do it again. And then by then it should be fine enough. We'll dump it, then we'll pour the rest of it in and grind it up too. Okay, time to make noise again. I'm not sure that's fine enough. We'll see. Yeah, looks like that part's fine enough. Okay, we're going to set the lid down. We'll deal with scraping this stuff off later. And we'll shake that part out for now. And then we'll come back and grind the rest of it. What I'm making is what we used to call Nutina. It's a fake meat that has, it really works real good for sandwiches. Depending on how soft you make it, whether it's like a spread or it's more like you just cut a chunk of it off and lay it on the sandwich like bologna, you know. And you can just take it and eat it too, just plain. Okay, there's half of it ground up. Oops, there's some more. Okay, put your grinder back in there. Oh, that thing is wicked. That will bite you in a heartbeat. Let's see if, I think I can get by with dumping the rest of it in. Yeah, I think so. It's really handy if you soak it whenever you get a chance, then throw it in the freezer. And now today, it was so frozen that I actually put it in the microwave to defrost a bit. And I really did need to do that. It needed it. So here we go again. It's not moving much in the bottom, but I know I got stuff up on top that didn't grind. So take it out of the lid again, push it down, fill it back in again. This little thing is kind of a crazy little thing, but it does pretty good. It's really easy to clean up. That's why I kind of choose what I use to clean up. You know, use to grind, because I don't want to have it to where I can't clean it up later. It's a real pain. So, oh, we still have some more stuff up in this lid that didn't get done. Oh, well, I'll deal with it later. Not grinding up enough to suit my fancy anyway. Okay, this is a funny machine. I don't care as long as it works. Yeah, I want to push it back down again. As far as I'm concerned, it's not quite ground enough yet. Take it off the center top. Yeah, I want it ground a little more than that. I want this ground real fine, just like I ground the peanuts real fine. Around here you can buy, well, I'm in Texas, and there's a certain time of the year when you can buy a 3-pound bag of raw peanuts. So what I do is I buy my bag, put them in quart jars, and then vacuum seal them so that they don't spoil. And the bugs don't get in and have them for lunch either. And then when I need one, I just pop open a jar and do it. Nah, it's not moving enough. We're going to have to take... See, I got a measuring cup over here that's handy. I'm going to take the top part of it off where it puffed up and it didn't really want to grind. And just put it back through here in a minute after I dump the bottom half. And that will be better. No, there's part of a whole bean. I don't really want any whole beans. I want them ground real fine. That should be enough to grind later, which is not much later, but now. Okay. Yeah, I try not to be mean to my spatula, but I don't want to be mean to my fingers either. This stuff can eat you. Okay, set that on top and scrape this rascal out so I can get the rest of it to go down to the bottom instead of being way up in the top. This is really good when it's done, though. If you don't like peanuts, you can use almonds. If you were in a situation where you didn't have almonds available, you could use filberts, which are hazelnuts. Same thing. You could use pecans, probably walnuts. You could use any of those. It changes the flavor ever so slightly, but it's still good food. And so it's not a big deal. Yeah, I should have took it and chopped it up in 3 batches. Put it in 3 batches so I wouldn't have an issue with it going that it didn't want to do what I asked. I'm going to go get myself a spoon. No, a fondue fork. And take the stuff out of the top of the lid, which has refused to grind itself. Okay, there we go. Now, what else do I have still in here? Yeah, a few other pieces. I want them all down in here. That works real good. Narrow little fork like that, yeah. Gets up in those cracks and crevices where you can't get otherwise. Now, this should be the last of the noise. Oh, I think that's much better. I'm going to unplug that because I'm done with it. And I don't want to have it in my way if I'm done. So I'll pick it up and kick it out of my way. Oh, that's a lot finer. Much better. I don't have a bunch of real stiff stuff up here in the top with big chunks and stuff like that. It's all pretty fine. Now, finish up that. Scrape this off. Yeah, that's pretty decent. Now we'll take the mortal remains, get them scraped out of here, and get that in here. I try to take everything out of my way as I use it so I don't accidentally do it twice and use, like, you know, you don't want a double dose of garlic powder. You don't want a double dose of salt or onion. That would not make you very happy. It would be pretty strong. Now, the one thing that wouldn't matter too much is if you did a double dose accidentally of nutritional yeast. That wouldn't bother you at all. So, that is the equivalent of a ground up cup of soybeans, after they've been soaked. And then I have the ground up peanuts. Now this is a good time to mix this real good. Just agitate it to where it's evenly mixed, and you don't have a bunch of balls of soybeans by themselves and a bunch of dust from the peanuts. Just kind of mix them together. We're going to add water when we get done with everything to texture, because that's what we're looking for, is a texture. Because that texture determines what it's going to be like when it's finally all done cooking. So that's what I use for a measurement. And see, it kind of sticks together a little bit. Okay, time to get my tools out of the way again. Now, the next thing on my list is a 1/4 cup of wheat flour. I have that sitting down beside me. I'll pick it up, put it on the table. Oh, I want to take this bag and take it off the table, out of my area as well. Put it in the sink and rinse it, and that'll be fine. Now, let's go back here. Whoa. That was all at one end. Whoa, was not expecting that. Well, here's a little 1/4 cupper. Fill it up. Shake it off. Pour it in. 1/4 cup. Done. That's whole wheat flour. This happens to be white whole wheat flour, which to me I'm going, that's puzzling. But I don't really care. Now I need the gluten flour. And I set that on the chair. Now, I buy it in a bulk bag. So I have, now my original recipe asked for a 1/4 cup. But I never like it as a 1/4 cup very well. I'm getting down on my bag. It's sometimes called gluten flour. This one here says Vita Wheat Gluten. This one is from Rainy Day Foods. They're in Montpelier, Idaho. Oh, just in case you want to find them, the phone number is 800-847-0465. They also can be reached on rainydayfoods.com. And so I buy it by the 5-pound bag. I don't remember how many I bought. I think my cup measurement in here is a 1/4 cup. Yeah, here's, wow, this is an 1/8 of a cup. So to have a 1/4 cup, I'm going to use it twice. There's one. And there's two. Now, I like mine stiffer, so I prefer to add another 1/4 cup. So there's an 1/8 again. And here's another 1/8. Back in your container. Now, this stuff, you want to be careful. You get it on something, and you get it wet, and oh, you got a mess. So you don't want that. You can probably buy the Vita Gluten from places like, well, here we have a store called H-E-B. Okay, now I want to mix that in because I don't want that loose. I want that mixed in very evenly. When you look at it, I want, you can see it still on the sides. Anywhere it's damp, it wants to stick to it. So you want it mixed in before you ever do that. And that way it'll keep it from sticking to the sides so bad. If you've taken the dust and mixed it into the rest of the other items that are here, the soybeans, which have been soaked, and the other. Now, my recipe calls for A tablespoon of nutritional yeast. This is nutritional yeast. A tablespoon. Okay. I don't know, will this fit in there? Yeah, this will fit in there. This is a tablespoon. Calls for a tablespoon, but you know what? I like it a lot better with 2 tablespoons, or even 3. Okay, there's 2. Yummy, yummy. It's so good. Okay, so there's that one. The next one on my list is a half a teaspoon. This is a half teaspoon. It will be a half a teaspoon of, they wanted onion salt, and oh, they wanted celery salt. I did not pick up celery salt. I picked up garlic salt. I'll have to go get the celery salt. It's not very far away. Now this is something you don't want a whole lot more than what it asks for. Just kind of shake it down. You can leave it a little lumpy. It won't be in bed. It'll be okay. And always cover this up with plastic because it helps keep the moisture out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go get the other. And it asks for the same amount of salt. So I'll get my salt. Now this is pink Himalayan, which actually pink Himalayan isn't quite as salty as regular salt. So I'll just barely shake it off, and that's all. I cheat. I like this. I just shake it into my hand normally, but I need to measure it this morning because of what I'm doing. Oh yes, what fun. Now, celery salt, I can use celery, the powder that celery is, oh, forget it, I'm not going to fight with that. I got to go get the other though. Okay, here is the celery salt. I don't normally use celery salt. I still got the lid on the inside. Yeah, this has been opened though. And it still wants a half a teaspoon. Now, this has the salt in it. But the other was measured with salt too. The other was measured with onion salt. And so it's ever so slightly lower. You can use celery seed if you want. It's all right. Now, I think I'm going to use a bit of garlic, but I'm not going to use the amount it asks for of onion. I'm going to use about half of it. Yeah, that sounds good to me. You can learn to improvise a little bit. You just want to be careful of the salts, because those are what get you in trouble. You know what? That's all the dry ingredients. So we're going to mix again. And mix everything together really good. Then we're going to start to get everything ready to put in the jars, because I'm canning this in jars. Oh, I may need to pause because I use parchment paper to line the sides of the jars so it doesn't stick so bad that I can't get it out. And I don't want to do plastic, not really, because plastic and I aren't the best of friends. It leaves chemical residue behind, and I think I just soon pass on it. You know what? This needs to be mixed better than that. Let's see what I can do about finding what I want. Nope, it's not in that drawer. What I am looking for is a deal we use for the pastry blender. Oh, I found one. That's good. I need one of them. In with my measuring spoons. Good, fantastic. I found the rascal. Now let's put it back. Let's put it to work. I think I will appreciate that better. That lets you break it up more. I gotta go get a funnel to put in the jars. The jars are already clean and ready. The funnel has got to be cabbaged onto to where I have that available. And I already have the lids clean, so they're already ready. Let's see. Oh, yep, there's a stiff spot. It's sticking together real bad in that one spot. I just want to make it to where it's all evenly mixed, and I don't have powder and wet in two separate places. Okay, take it off and get rid of it. Leave it in there because I can't eat it without cooking it. Now, I picked up 5 jars, but I'm not sure I'm going to need that many. Okay, let's move that back over there. Okay, I'm going to go get the funnel, and I have to have, how much? Okay, I have to have 2.5 cups of water. And I'm not going to put it in the food processor. I'm just going to mix it. But I've got to have all my jars. I picked out 5, but I may only need 3.5 or 4. I don't remember right now. But I want to pick them all up and make them all nice and handy. And I got to go get the funnel. I'm going to pick up a big spoon so that when I'm ready to do that, I already have a spoon sitting here that's ready to pick it out of a big pot, put it in there. Now I need 2.5 cups of water. I'm just going to use sink water, so that'll be fine. So I'm going to start out with the 2 cups. And then I'll pour the other 1/2 cup in here and wait and see if I want it. Yeah, that looks about right. I've got an extra 1/2 cup by itself. I'm not going to put it in yet. No, I don't want that. I want do I have a large fork somewhere here, Candy? Well, it's a large fork, but I'm not sure if it's going to do what I want it to do. Yeah, it will. Believe it or not, it's a large meat fork. And that's all right. I just want to mix it real good. Make sure it's all equally mixed. Nope, there's a spot over there that wasn't mixed right all the way. Let me tip this up so you can see it. Now, I think I want it a little wetter than that. You can see it doesn't have any water pockets or anything. It's kind of damp and mushy, but I think I could use the rest of the water. So we'll dump it. Now I'm going to mix that in, and you can start to see it looks different. Oh, that's nice and soft. See, it just kind of, it sort of stays on the fork. And this is a big fork. These tines are like a 1/2 inch apart or something like that. Yeah, I like that. That looks good. Okay, I can put the water container in the rack and rinse off the spoon, the fork. I want to rinse that off now because I don't want to leave it, because I don't want to deal with it later. Let's see if I have enough pieces that are already cut. If not, I have a long one that hasn't been cut. Okay, this is parchment paper. Now I found I can wash them, and I can take them and I can, now that's long enough, I think, to be, will that be 2 strips? Well, let's see if that's big enough to be 2 strips. Yep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly fold it in half real good. You make it a little shorter than the height of the jar. You don't want it to be above this heavy ring, the solid ring that goes all the way around the neck. You don't want it. You don't want the material higher than that, and you don't want your you don't want to cut this higher than that either. Now let's get this done. Oh, you can tear it if you're good at it. I'm going to tear it. I can get a pretty good cut out of it. Good, there's the first one. Take it, stick it in the jar. Stick the funnel in the jar. Well, you know what? I'm going to put this around it. I'm going to just kind of squeeze it as I put it in. And that way it'll stay a little better. Now I want to make sure it goes to the bottom of the jar. Turn the shoe over. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pick up this stuff. And I'm going to dump it in there. And, yep, there's some more. Okay, I think that's getting close. Take the funnel out of the way because I don't need the funnel to hold everything anymore. Tap it. And I have it below the level. You can see the light go through it. I have it down to about right here. I can put a tiny bit more in it, but I don't think I want more than that. Tap it again to smooth it out. Okay, I have lids already. So I'll pull a lid, put it on top of it, put a ring on it, and go round and round. Now, it just barely contacted. I'm going to turn it. Okay, so I've got it straight here. I'm going to turn it. Oh man, I didn't turn it more than about from here to here. And that's tight enough. The next one needs another piece of wax paper. Well, this is parchment paper. Basically, it's wax paper. I prefer to kind of wrap it around it if it's really tight. Okay, now, is it down all the way? Yeah, it's down all the way. And I'm going to do the same thing again. About 3 scoops. At least this spoon. Oh, this will be delicious food. Yummy, yummy. I don't think I have enough for 5. Doesn't look like it. Now that's what it looks like when you look at down inside of it. Pull it out again. And what I'm doing also is I'm taking the air bubbles out of it when I tap it on the bottom. But you tap it on your hands. You don't tap it on the glass. You don't tap it on wood. You tap it on your hand. And you can kind of cup your hand. See, it's all nice. That's good. It'll be so much easier when you go to take it out. But take it out. And then you're going to take it and you're going to take and scrape it off without busting a hole in it, and take a brush to it and wash both sides of it till you get rid of everything. Okay, that was loose. Now I want to go tighten that much. That's just from here to there. Yeah, that's enough. You don't want to tighten it very much. Now, here's some more. Yeah, I have more. This one's a little shorter, and it's longer. And sometimes I turn them the opposite direction of what they've been curl up in the road. This one's been washed, and it's fine. It does the job. It makes it nice, and it makes a good barrier to keep it from stick to the wall. Now it's still going to stick to the bottom. So pull it up, put your funnel around the neck of it, and then slide it down, and then push it all the way down. That way, it stays where you ask it to go. Oh yeah, you're going to stay where I ask you to go. I don't think so. You're kind of ornery. But you want it to go to the bottom, because that's what keeps it from sticking to the sidewall. Okay, oh, that's a big spoonful. Ack! I don't want it going anywhere. Come on, let's go back in the container. I don't know how much this big cooking spoon actually makes. I'm not sure how much it picks up at one time, but it's like maybe 3 tablespoons or something like that. Now this one is going to be a lot tighter because it doesn't have all that extra room. I'm going to have to leave that one a little bit lower. Yeah, I think I'll give it a smell more, because this one's, I've got, I think, enough left for one more jar. The object is just to keep the stuff from sticking to the wall. Your top should be nice and clean because you used a funnel to keep getting it on the edge, keep from getting it on the edge. Okay, another lid. And another ring. Same stunt. Just put it on real light till you feel it, and come up to it and turn it. Yep, that's enough. Okay, the next one. Oh. See, these have been washed, but they're nice and clean. They work good. And if it's too long, it doesn't matter, as long as you can take it and make it to where, now come on, I don't like that tail. That tail is wound back around itself. I want it to go the same direction as everybody else. Put it in the jar, and then slide it to the bottom. And this one, I'm going to need to reach inside and with a spatula and make it go down like I want it. You don't want it to come up into your ceiling area at all. That will not make you happy. And you really don't want stuff behind the wax paper either. So this one here's being ornery, so I'll have to take it and push it back, because I don't want it between the layers. I want it all on the front side. Okay, that's what's left. Let's see how we come out. Hopefully I won't be short, but if I am, just cook it the way it is. It'll be edible. Still just as tasty. Nope, I'm going to be short. But that's okay. It is important to tap it, because what that does is it makes it go into a solid mass where you don't have, you know, a bunch of air bubbles in it. Because it's harder to deal with it unless you're going to just take and scoop it out with a spoon if it has air bubbles in it. Okay, now those are all done. We have this much left. This one's only a half a jar, so it's 3.5 jars. But I'm tapping it. I want to make it go down. It's below the level of where the lid sits on it, so it's still okay. Now, the next thing on my list is to go and get the Instapot. I can use the 6-quart. It will be fine because there's enough room. Hang on just a second. See, I always pull one out so it's handy and I can just cut it up if I need to. And I better wipe this down because I don't want that underneath the Instapot. That will not be a good thing. The Instapot is going to run for an hour and 15 minutes, which is 90 minutes. Well, no, that's an hour and 20 minutes. That's all right. That's fine, too. And what I do, since we are not canning like you do with a, like when you're not water bath canning, you're actually pressure canning. So you actually want your water, it's right at the bottom of the grate. And that's all you need. It's all the water you need. When I'm all done here, I'm going to start that here in a second or two. Okay, this guy. Here he comes. He's got work to do today. And I won't show you the end process because then I would have to do it again. But very carefully, when you go and you're done, take your lid off after it's canned. And, oh, by the way, when they've cooled, take off your rings. You don't want your rings to get to where they are, how do I want to say, glued down. They're welded to the glass, because then you'll be very unhappy. Okay, this already has the grate in the bottom. Make sure the feet are down. These little feet right here. I'm going to go stick this in the sink for a second, long enough to put water in the bottom. And all I need is the water to the bottom of the grate. Let's see if we can make that to where you can see it. Now, when I go to tip it, you can't see it. Sorry about that. Okay, we put that in. Pick up our jars. This one will hold, there's my half jar. Here's my whole jar. Here's another one. You want wide mouth jars when you're doing this. You can only use pints. Let me turn this way so you can see it. I'm going to take the lid, put it on. Okay, put it on. It says sealing. Put it on sealing. Go down here to pressure cook. That's what it says, pressure cook. Okay, I got to add a bunch of time. And the other thing I got to do is get rid of the keep warm, because I don't want it to keep warm. I want it, when it's done, I want it to just shut off, and I'm done. Now, let's start adding our time in. I want an hour and 15 minutes. Haven't quite got there. I want my pressure on high, and I want it to say more. Here we go. Now it's started. And when it's done, it just shuts itself off, and it's all done. Okay, it's going to start to do its thing now. Okay, I think that's what all the process you need to see what it looks like. And it will start counting down after its pressure builds up. Okay, so this is how you make Nutina. You can make your dry ingredients and grind them up by themselves. Put them in a bag, label them like 1 batch or 2 batches, and you can have the dry stuff like the dry onion, the salt, the celery salt, the, let's see what else. Oh, the nutritional yeast. You can have those as packets that you've already pre-prepared ahead of time. Okay, I'm going to leave you here. When it's done, it will finally, if you've used Instapot, you know what it does to release its pressure and decide that it's ready for you to open the lid. Pick them out and put them on a towel. Let them cool a bit. And then when they're all cool, you can take the rings off. And it'll be ready to open up whenever you do. These lids are really flimsy nowadays. You have to go to open them ever so slowly, otherwise they'll bend and buckle. But if the lid is cleaned and it's nice on the back side. There's no reason you can't recycle a lid. So as long as it's not bent and it's clean and it's not rusty. Matter of fact, that's something to watch out for. The lids, these here, make sure they're nice and shiny. If they're not, they give you a false reading when you go to tighten it. They start digging in because of the rust before they're done, and then you don't get a good reading. You don't get a good, twist in it to where, if it's too tight, it'll take and bolt the lid up and it'll buckle the metal, and the metal will buckle upward because it's too tight. I mean, you could still use it as long as it's sealed and you're waiting for that lid to pop down. But if you can't at all, you know that. So the 6 quart will hold 4 half-pint wide-mouth jars. I'm sorry. Those are pint wide-mouth jars. And an 8 quart, you can actually put 1 more in. So you can put another wide-mouth pint in. So you can get 5. But you probably have to make 2 batches to do that. But it's fine. Okay. Hey, happy cooking. Enjoy it. You don't have to eat it all at once that way. And it doesn't go bad on you as long as it's sealed.